Ghost of Tsushima.
Ooh.
On the PlayStation. Who all played it? Ed,
Yep.
Chris,
Me.
Tim. How
Yep.
many of you guys beat it?
Yep.
Me.
All three?
Yeah.
Okay,
Platinum.
so they came out and said that, you platinumed it. You know when you get the trophy at the end of the game? Well, when you go and see how rare that is, that lets you know how many people have beaten that said game.
Right.
And they found that 50.2% of players have finished Ghost of Tsushima, which is a lot when you're talking about an open world game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like this. And this is actually going to go into the question of the week a little bit. I'll ask a question that's kind of about this later. But what I just thought was really interesting is that they released, this is on Ungeek, but I saw a bunch of stories about this, and they had like a listing of other open world games and the completion rate as to what they got beat by. And so we've got Marvel's Spider-Man at 50.8.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Remember, Ghost is at 50.2. The next one's Assassin's Creed Origins at 38.2. Far Cry 5 at 36.7. Days Gone at 34.7. Horizon 34. Assassin's Creed Odyssey 30%. The Witcher 3 29. Obviously, I didn't beat it either. Death Stranding 28%. Red Dead 28. Watch Dogs 2 24. Assassin's Creed Valhalla so far 19.8% of the people actually finished the story.
Wow.
And this
Wow.
I didn't finish
goes
the
on to
story.
say that
Now that I think about it.
in Assassin's Creed, in Valhalla.
Yeah, I'm assuming because
Valhalla?
you have to do all the different arcs, and I just did the main one.
I don't know.
So I'm assuming
Yeah.
it counts for all of them.
Right. So they were
yeah,
saying
maybe.
that what makes this completion rate impressive is that usually only 30 to 40% of players finish the main storyline in open world games. And I thought that was really interesting because I never really have thought about it like that. We've talked about games we've started and not finished, but you don't realize how many other people are having the same thought. Like, I started it, didn't finish it. I started it, didn't finish it. I started it, didn't finish it. So I was going to ask you, and I'll ask you guys early because this is going to be the question of the week. What helps you finish a game? What then is it that keeps you around in a Marvel Spider-Man? I think a couple of us platinum that. What kept you guys around for a Ghost of Tsushima where Tim would platinum that game, but probably a lot of these other games? I know that you guys beat Horizon, Ed, Days Gone, Far Cry, but what do you think it is about these games that has you not finish them, and what helps you finish them, Chris?
It's typically it's a pretty simple answer for me. If I'm continuing to have fun, I will continue and finish the
Yep.
game. And if I'm not having
Yeah.
fun, I'm bouncing. Or I'm gonna if it's a
exactly.
game where
Yep.
it has story but also just a ton of side stuff, and I'm not feeling the story, I'll abandon it. I'll just go do all the side stuff and do the stuff
Yeah.
I am enjoying, which is maybe just the combat or whatever.
Yeah. Sure. Ed, same thing?
Exact same answer. If I'm having fun, I'll keep playing.
Yeah. Tim?
Yeah, I think a lot of the platinums that I've gotten are, well, a lot of them are story based. So I would say story has some to do with it. But if there's just so many things to do and explore, you have that option to kind of go around and choose what you want to do while still advancing into the game. So yeah, I definitely, you got to keep having fun with it. You don't want to force yourself to finish a game. That's what fun is that, you know?
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because I feel like I sit on a little bit different of a side than you guys. So one, when I look at this list, right, The Witcher 3, Watch
That's
Dogs
impressive.
2, those are games that Horizon Zero Dawn even, and Horizon's going to be a little different for me with this. Far Cry 5 I beat. To me, if the game's just like stupid long, I feel like even if I'm having a good time, that good time can wear out. So it's not that the
Yes.
game
Yeah.
all of a sudden is bad, but I'm
Yeah.
just like bored of it maybe. And I think that's what happened in The Witcher 3, where I just got so sidetracked with the other things I was doing with collecting Gwent cards.
Right.
And then my other thing is I get distracted. Horizon Zero Dawn didn't do anything wrong to me, but Breath of the Wild happened to come out right after I started it, and I really wanted to play Breath of the Wild, which made me never return to Horizon Zero Dawn. Watch Dogs 2 was for some reason really overwhelming to me, and so I didn't finish that game.
Yeah.
But then there's games like Persona 4, which I wasn't enjoying really, and then like grew to like, and then spent 100 hours in it. So it's not that I'm not willing to put 100 hours into it. And so it's just interesting seeing how many people, because now you look at it on the flip side, you would say for open world main storylines, 65 to 70% of people never finish it. That's a big number, and that's a lot of work. And I wonder if that's discouraging to people that pour their heart and soul into some of these games, and for 70% of the people not to roll the credits.
I would say,
and I wonder,
just,
go ahead. Sorry.
Just looking back, like some of those games like Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed, those UB games, they love to fill the map with stuff to do. Whereas with Ghost and Spider-Man, they had side quests, but there weren't nearly as many as in those other games at the same time, and so that can, like you say, that's a big order. That some people, even though you don't have to do them to beat the main story, just looking at that map can wear some people out when you see all those icons on there.
Yeah, that's for sure. I am a fan of them slowly unfolding the icons instead of you looking at the map and seeing all of them at once. Go ahead, Tim.
Yes, 100%. And I think, I feel like now that you're saying we're talking about this, I feel like that's kind of how I'm feeling right now with Valhalla, because I know what to expect because I've been doing this for so long. I'm still enjoying it, but it is kind of a grind. But I feel like I'm now getting into a little bit more story. So I'm like, okay, there might be some more here that I can that will like kind of carry me through. I'm not forcing myself with Valhalla because I enjoy that game. I'm having a great time. But there is some fatigue because I kind of know where this is going. And I know what to do, and I feel like a lot of it's the same. That data that you just said is amazing because we've been talking for so long, and it's been in so many things that the trend has always been bigger games, bigger games, bigger games. This is the exact opposite, where you have Spider-Man and Ghost, which are two smaller story, not as huge games, short, sweet, to the point, and everybody will finish that. So why
half
would
the
you
people
want
are
to
finishing it. Yeah.
Why would you want to put so much money into going so far and so deep into a story and into a game to only have 30% of the people finish it? So, and especially with budgets and stuff. So I think there's going to be a trend reversal, and we're going to see a little bit more of a squeeze in AAA games. And I don't think they're going to be as big moving forward, to be honest.
I think it's a bit different when you talk about the open world aspect. And I would be curious, because if I'm understanding right, you're saying that these statistics are for completing the main story, correct?
The main story in open world games.
Yeah. So
not in just any game.
So the thing about that is, like for me, for when it came to Ghosts and Spider-Man, I feel like even though those were open world games in some respect, Spider-Man even a little bit less so, the story was compelling. You wanted to stay in that story like it was just a narrative story game. And then when you were done, you're like, oh, there's this other cool stuff to see. When it comes to a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I played the entire story, and did all the stuff. I did over 100 hours in that game and loved every minute of it. And the combat was so fun, and I could do whatever I wanted. And then also there are a lot of games like, I think Assassin's Creed, especially Valhalla and some other ones, fall into this trap where even if you're kind of a veteran at playing these style games, you learn quickly. You're like, okay, I'm going to go do all this side stuff because I'll level my character up. So then when I go to the story stuff, I can just blaze through it, kind of thing. Yeah. But sometimes you get burned out over there and you never make it back. I'd be curious.
That's exactly what's happening right now.
While I agree with Tim that maybe the story sizes will shrink, I also wonder if it's like, okay, maybe only 20% completed the story to completion, but how much of the game's completion did they do? Maybe they still did like 60% of the game complete. So they're like, oh, well, it was worth all the stuff that we did. I'd be very curious to see that stat as well. To see if that from the whole, is this worth our while from the developer standpoint?
Right. And that's a tougher thing. That's going to be each developer's. Yeah. I remember when talking to Stancil when he was at Sucker Punch and talking about the decisions they made around Infamous, and it was all the data that they had, but maybe not data that was open to everybody. So you would almost have to go around. This one's a little easier because you could just tell by that trophy.
Yes.
The end, that's the end trophy and how the percentage. It'd be tougher to see the one that you're talking about, Chris, where it's like the whole arc of like, but how much percentage did they, people do of each each game.
Yeah,
That's
percentage
tough.
of total game. Yeah.
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 So that'll be part of the
Interesting,
question
man.
of the week. Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. I was like, huh, I never even thought about that, and I didn't know the number was so low.
I can't remember how complete I did Ghost when I played it on the channel, but looking at our complete playthrough on our YouTube channel, it's 60 hours. And I don't know if that's, I definitely did a lot of side missions. I don't know if this is all of them. I don't think it is. So it's
Probably not.
it's definitely not a small game by any means, but it didn't feel like I'm shocked to see that. It didn't feel like 60 at all. It felt like a 30-hour game.
Interesting.
It did. It really did.